was right that we should make merry and be glad. For your brother was dead and is alive again, and was lost and is now found. This is the word of God for the people of God.
Thanks be to God.
You may be seated. Hazel asked me on the way over about my sermon if it was worthy for the of the scripture today. And I said, no, it's not. And we just left it at that. Maybe. Very often, the only way to understand Jesus' parable is to leave our modern world behind. Try to enter into the thought process of another people in another time. Such is the journey we have to make. If Jesus' parable of the Prodigal Son is to speak to us as he spoke to his listeners of old. There was a man who had two sons. One son, the youngest, comes to his father and demands his share of the inheritance. Now that may sound odd to our ears, but it's not unheard of. Sometimes in our culture, parents will transfer parts of their estate to their children to avoid the inheritance tax, or spend down their money so health care expenses won't eat their assets. Amazingly, the father complies. He divides his estate between his two sons. Notice, if you will, the older son does not object. He's not much better than his brother when it comes to a parental respect. The younger son takes the money and he boogies. He runs. And he goes into that far-off country. To Jewish ears, that would have meant he goes off to live with the Gentiles. Not only does he take his father's money, but he abandons everything the old man has ever taught him. He grinds his father's faith into the dirt. I'm wondering how many of us have done that. And what does he do with all that money? Well, the young fellow's party and he parties and has a good time. He spends all that money until, well, he's on the sidewalk. Kind of homeless, right? Then when he finds out he has nothing, he takes a job that is disgusting to Jewish listeners. He herds pigs, the swine, the filth. It's not that he's doing agricultural labor that's distasteful. No, it's the fact to Jews, pigs are unclean. Leviticus 11:8 says the pigs of their flesh you shall not eat, and their carcasses you shall not touch. They are unclean for you. For a Jew of the time of Jesus, to work herding pigs is no longer being a Jew. Just as if this wasn't bad enough. Come on. He eats what pigs eat. You know, the peapods and all that good stuff. To Jesus' listeners, this means the faithfulest young man is not only herding those unclean, filthy pigs, he wishes he were a pig. And it's common for the people of our culture, when studying this parable, to focus on its financial aspects. I'm like you, I like that green stuff. Silver even, right? Pennies of faith we put in. We see the younger son still sin primarily as economic, as having wasted his father's money. The word prodigal, from the unofficial English name of the parable, which doesn't occur until the spiritual means, spendthrift. Yes, as the incident of the little piggy reminds us, the prodigal son's sin is also one of rejecting of all the values of his community. The young man returns home with a desperate speech, and he's memorized by heart. In that speech, he makes no claim whatsoever to restoration as his father's son. All he asks for is a job, as a day laborer, a migrant worker, a person who lives on the fringes of society, and he picks up odd jobs when he can find them. He who once had full citizenship but cast it away will now be happy to become an illegal alien. Make me one of your hired hands. He plans to beg his father. His transformation is now complete. This haughty young man who once demanded of his father, give me my share of the inheritance, is now imploring him, make me one of your day laborers. This is precisely the transformation any follower of Jesus Christ must go through at the moment of conversion, that moment of deciding to become a disciple. Give me our natural, sinful self demands of the world and of God. Give me all the happiness that is my due. But there's a strange thing about that sort of happiness. It never satisfies. It's like drinking seawater to try to satisfy our thirst. Finally, when every earthly well of meaning has run dry, we come to the conclusion that give me gets us nowhere. Nowhere. The only way to true and lasting joy is to say not give me, but make me. Make me, O God, make me what you would have me be. Such is the request of the prodigal son repeats to himself over and over as he walks along the dusty road to his father's farm. He knows not what reception he will receive, and he's fully prepared for the worst. What the son is utterly unprepared for is the sight that greets him as he draws near to his father's house. There, charging down the road in his direction as fast as he could run, is his father. It's his most uncharacteristic role for a first century Jewish man, landowner. And such men are never seen running. They don't. They are the village elders, men of dignity and deliberation. They stand and they wait for others to come to them. Yet the prodigal's father is throwing protocol to the four winds. It's overflowing with joy to see his son. After all those years. Even more than that, he's probably running because he wants to get to the border before his fellow villagers do. For they would very likely beat him up and abuse him and turned him from his path. Before any of that can happen, the father cries out for a robe and a ring and sandals for his son's feet. The fine robe and the ring testifies that here is not a day laborer, but a man of substance and privilege. The sandals signify that he is not a slave. For slaves in that day typically go barefoot. Just as this destitute young man is probably walking barefoot down the road to his father. And the father calls for the fattened calf to be slain. It's a feast. Yeah, feast. Not only for him and his two sons, but the entire village. There's no refrigeration in those days, folks. The only way to preserve the meat is to keep it on the hoof. If you slaughter one of your livestock, you'd better invite all the neighbors over, for that's the only way the meat will get eaten before it spoils. For the father and both his sons, the slaying of the fattened calf has further significance. It's the means by which the father declares to the entire village that his outcast son has now been welcomed back into the family circle. It's under his father's protection. No one will dare mock or insult him now. The son's grave offense is forgotten. The joy of reconciliation awaits. Let us pray our prayer of confession in the bulletin. Heavenly Father, there have been times when jealousy has overcome us. We have resented the good fortune of others when our faithful laborers seem to. Forgive us, we